Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and as we await the Caverns of Time full reveal, which is tomorrow, we'll be reviewing every new card revealed. There's, I think, 31 that haven't been shown, plus 2 reworks that haven't been shown, so it's going to be a very busy day. We'll have either 1 or 2 videos, we'll see, but I thought let's get a head start because I actually haven't reviewed all the revealed cards so far from this blog post that goes over. And again, if you're not aware what the Caverns of Time is, it's a set that will be only for Wild and the upcoming Twist format, as well as like Duels, and it could be seen in Arena, although it won't be right away. You will not be able to play any of these cards in Standard, except for like Acolyted Pain, because that one did get buffed, and it is a part of this, so Acolyted Pain will be a part of it. So let's review the cards that we haven't reviewed yet. We'll have a different review structure for this because we've never had a non-standard review before. And as always, if you enjoy the content on the channel and you feel like I've earned your subscription, please hit that sub button down below. Give the video a like, it helps us out a ton. So yes, there are 3 cards that have been officially revealed so far. There was one that got leaked. I'm not going to cover it out of respect to Blizzard and all that, but if you dig around, you might be able to find it. Again, we'll find out all the cards tomorrow. But starting off, we have the Eye Stalk of Cthun. So Cthun, for the first time since the Old Gods expansion came out, is getting a support card. It is a neutral epic, a 4 mana 1/1, so that's terrible. However, it has taunt and lifesteal, and whenever your Cthun gains attack or health, this does too, wherever it is. So if this is in your deck, it'll get buffed. If it's added to your hand, if it gets just generated, it will get those buffs in some way. It doesn't matter how you get the card, in any way, it'll get that buff, and it'll be buffed while it's on the board as well. With Cthun going to 8 mana and all the buffs to a lot of the Cthun support cards, this seems like if Cthulhu's gonna be playable in Twist, it's probably gonna be a pretty good card, as these type of like insane effects are a lot more rare back in the day, even with all the buffs. The second this gets like 1 buff, a +3/+3, it's a 4 mana 4/4 lifesteal taunt. This can get big really fast, and for our new rating system for this expansion only, maybe I'm gonna rate them in Twist and in Wild separately. So for Twist, I think this is like a 4-star card. I think the Cthun decks have a legitimate shot. Cthulhu Rogue is a standout to me, where that whole like the murder card, the like steal stats, got buffed to like 6 mana, which is incredible. And you might even do like a Jade Cthulhu package, right, with the new buff Jades. There's a lot of stuff you can do, and I think Eye Stalk Cthulhu could certainly fit into that whole build, and just any Cthulhu deck obviously can use this. So I'm gonna give it a 4 to 5 in Twist, and in Wild I'm gonna give it a 2 because I don't think Cthulhu decks are gonna work in Wild. The only one I can see is like a Juicy Psych Melon Druid Cthulhu deck, but that's gonna be more about just getting Aviana, Eonar or Kun, and getting out your basically your buffers for like 1 or 0 mana or whatever, and then OTK with Cthulhu. You're not gonna really, I don't think, bother with the Eye Stalk and all that, and that's like the only Cthulhu deck I really envisioned being a thing, at least until we see more cards. Maybe there's more busted stuff for Cthulhu, but as it stands, yeah, I'm gonna give it a 2 in Wild, a 4 in Twist. And I mean, it can change per season in Twist, right? Like depending on what the expansions are. Right now it's just like Legacy up until Mean Streets and the Caverns of Time, so you know it could, the rating for Twist could go down if we go back to the New Age format where it's just OTK quest lines, where this is just not going to make the cut. Anyways, the next card is for Shaman, an even cost card. I'll lead up with that. Totally Totems, a 4 mana epic spell. You summon all 5 basic totems, overload 1. So yes, the spell damage totem makes a comeback, and you get 5 totems in 1 card. There's already that whole like infuse card that's odd cost, so you can't play that in even Shaman. That gives you all 4 totems as long as you've infused it with other totems. But for this, you get 5 of the totems, including spell damage totem. So is this good? Well, if you remember from the old days, Overload Shaman was pretty good at this point. You had like Tunnel Trog, you had Totem Golem, you had the Inspire minion that buffs your other totems with which just got buffed for some reason, even though it was like a god tier card back in the day. And you could curve into this, kind of. It does overload you one, it buffs your Tunnel Trog, it does all that kind of stuff, right? So there is potential for it. I just don't really see it seeing play in Twist. I don't think you're doing a strictly totem build. It would be more for that like aggressive overload deck. But again, you get 5 totems for 4 mana. They don't get answered. You go into Battle Cry, give your totems +2 attack. I think you're in business. So this card is a shot, I think, in Twist. I'm going to give it a 3. And then the conversation is this good enough in Wild? Is this good enough to play in Wild and even Shaman? It's 4 mana. You get a full board of totems, and then you can just play Thing from Below for like 1 mana. I mean, obviously it's going to be 0 by then. You've hero powered at least once, right? You get your Thing from Belows, your Gigan totems. There is so, like, you just enable so much mana sheet with that. And you can even build around maybe possibly the spell damage with your crackles and all of that. So I think there's a shot for this to see play in Wild, but it could just be too slow. It could be where, yeah, 4 mana overload 1, get 5 totems. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 in Wild. I think it's better in Wild than I do think it is in Twist, and I could realistically seeing it see play. The overload, like, is pretty minor, and again, the overload actually is almost like a little bit of a buff for the card in some ways, where you can just get like Golganeth, right, and tutor this out. Play it for 1 mana if you haven't played another spell that turn. There's some real synergies going on there, so I do think it could see play in Wild. I just don't know if it makes the cut. The last card revealed, and probably the coolest one, which probably means it's the worst one, right? Although it's Priest, is Murozond, Thief of Time, the 7 mana 6/6 dragon. Battle Cry. If your deck has no duplicate, so it's a Highlander card, and yes, Reno and those type of cards, Raza, are live in this, but no Shadow Reaper Anduin. We'll talk about that in a second. You discover a dragon, deal damage equal to its cost to all other minions. So that's a pretty good AoE effect, and discovering dragons, especially during Twist, there's barely any cheap ones. You have like Fairy Dragon and there's very few. They're mostly expensive, so it's likely going to be a board wipe, right? Like, there's no mistake, there's no amalgam, nothing like that. I think Fairy Dragon is probably the only really cheap one out there. And back then, Priest did not have a ton of great AoE. Psychic Scream's not available yet. Shadow Reaper Anduin's not available yet. I believe you have Dragonfire Potion, was a Mean Streets card. You can get Kazakus potions and all that, but it's a really good AoE. The issue for this card is Reno Priest, at least back in the day, during Mean Streets, wasn't good. It really wasn't. It wasn't until Shadow Reaper Anduin showed up to give you those infinite pings, it became a thing. But if you're like me and you're a big Crypt fanboy, back in the day, Crypt had this deck called Chansey Priest. It was the meta breaker, he claimed. It wasn't a top tier deck, but it was really cool. But maybe it could make a comeback where you basically have Sir Finley Murgleton to give you a new hero power. You also have Garrison Commander to refresh that hero power. Of course, Raza made it all 0 mana, and then you would couple that up with Spawn of Shadows to do a bunch of damage. And Spawn of Shadows now has a Battle Cry and is 5 mana, so he does a little bit more damage, although costs a bit more. But you look at like the AoE options he had back in the day, like Chilma, terrible. The Dragonfire, as I mentioned, a 5 mana Holy Nova, a 5 mana Excavated Evil, which is still 5 mana, but some pretty bad cards. Also Shadow Form in there to rotate it, although Shadow Form was 3 mana at the time. So maybe Chansey Priest. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try and make Chansey Priest a thing as tribute to Crypt, because that was such a cool thing. Do I see Murozond, Thief of Time being the super impactful card in Twist? I don't think Highlander Priest is going to be that good. I don't think it makes the cut compared to a lot of other stuff you can do. Don't forget, Twist is like Warsong Commander, unnerfed. It has Starving Buzzard, unnerfed. Those cards did not see the light of day in those forms back then. We don't know what this meta is going to look like at all. It's going to be way more powerful than it ever was back when we played back in the day. So a card like this, I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5 in Twist. I think it's a really good card, but Highlander Priest will not be good enough. And in Wild, where, yeah, Highlander Priest is good enough, it's a pretty good board wipe. It's some value. it's not too bad. I'm gonna give it a 3 in Wild, where Reno Priest isn't exactly thriving. But again, it's another AoE, it's another body, it's another value generator. I think it's a pretty decent card, unless of course you hit the Amalgam mistake and Fairy Dragon Discover option, and then you're feeling pretty bad about things. But yeah, those are my reviews so far. We're gonna have tons more. They'll probably be a little bit more brief, or we'll split it up into multiple videos. I'll see how they reveal it, how everything goes. And of course, all this stuff will be loaded into the Hearthstone client tomorrow. We'll see what kind of bundles there are. We'll have lots to talk about over the next couple of days. And let me know what you guys think about these cards in the comments below, what you agree with, disagree with, all that. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.